looking at the rest of my party, I just sort of like, well, we ready then?
Yeah, I suppose.
Lina, last chance. Come back now. Or sorry, fucking Fiona.
Lol.
Fiona!
It's
Fiona.
Fiona, yeah. Shit, I keep on forgetting, sorry.
So Fiona looks over to Jon with quite dim-lit eyes. He's just staring at you. And she says, "Let's go. Let's just get this over with."
Nice. And Balthazar grimly nods.
Balthazar, he's actually, we'll say this, as you guys are, looking amongst each other, Balthazar is distracted. He has his little bit of fog in a jar, and he's added like a solution to it. He's swirling it around. He seems very interested in whatever reaction is going on inside. Not that there appears to be a reaction, but he seems interested. And he kind of looks up distractedly, and he nods his head, and he's like, yeah, onward to Barovia.
All right. Yes, case. Let's go then.
All right. So it was that the four heroes made their way into the ever-thickening fog around the Zvalich Woods. You guys begin making your way through, and this time, with the sun just barely making its way through the fog, it is a little bit easier to find your way. It's still hard to see all that far in front of you, but the light really does make all the difference as far as trying to pick your way through this place goes. As you guys go, and as you make your way farther into the woods, every once in a while, you stop and check the trees just to see the experience from last time repeats. So now and again, you actually find the little sunshine carvings that Fiona left last time, numbered as they are, and they count down sequentially this time. 11, 10, 8, 4, 3, 2, and suddenly you guys find yourself about maybe 2.5 hours into your journey, with the very first sunshine marker, marked as you guys remember it with a smiley face. But looking at it now, recognizable on the tree, really been altered. Where it's been carved has been torn at and slashed at. Maybe an axe, maybe a sword. It's barely recognizable at this point as the sunshine symbol, except for the fact that whoever did this to carve underneath of it a very sad looking face. Hey, there's Dusk. Yes, someone has altered the mark.
Okay.
Strange, uncomfortable maybe that they took the time to not just destroy it, but to make their own. There isn't really any evidence near, any kind of current active tampering. No footprints. No axe left leaned against. You're left with very little to go on. I've done this. I will also note that during the first half an hour or so of your journey, you guys never encounter the Vistani camp. You keep expecting to pass it on your way further through the woods, and the You never even been. No discarded like campfire, no, like signs of the revelry of the night before, discarded bottles, nothing. It just never passes by. And for you, Mr. Kirkland, that you guys are making maybe too good a time. You've established, explored these woods before in the past, and it should be probably about like a day's worth of walking's journey to reach the Barovian Mountains through the Village Woods themselves. Not that you've ever been that far, but if you had to take a guess. A mere 4, nearly 5 hours into this journey, a steep incline. Wash, the path deep to give way to kind of richer mountain. You begin to see, chunks of rocks sticking out in places. The trees have begun to thin to a certain extent. You're making very, very good time indeed, it seems. So, as you guys are making your way through this Village Woods, are you guys discussing anything? Are you talking amongst yourself? Is there anything being said?
I'm just gonna look at everyone and I'm gonna say, well, we seem to be going super fast, like super speed, huh?
I say it's the exact same phenomenon as been happening this time we came through. Seems like we're being magically teleported. Something like that.
Was being accelerated.
I don't know.
So that makes 2 of you.
He's a person, trade, something like that, right? Silence. Awkward silence.
He's very upset that you're implying anything else. Of course. Man of science. How dare you even pretend he might be a wizard?
To John, it's all the same. It's just fucking they do a thing and then something beyond his understanding happens. That's all he knows, man.
All right. So, you guys have begun your ascent up the Barovian Mountains and towards the Zvalich Pass. There is a moment as you guys continue to make your way upwards. The sun has begun to set at this point. It's been several hours now. And as you guys kind of make your way up the path, there comes a point where the trees kind of stop. And it's right as you pass through that the fog kind of dies away again. And you find yourself, pretty high up on the mountain now. You can look back and you can see out over the woods that you get just crossed. You can see all the way to the village. You can see it kind of spread out around what used to be the bell tower from here. You can see the shining willow lake. And distantly, you can even kind of make out the outline of the giant willow tree that gave the whole area its name.
So, like, the fog doesn't actually go this high up into the mountains.
Yes. It seems to have settled a little bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, this place is really beautiful in a grim and eerie way.
fair, for what it's for what it is, I'm actually so glad that we went out here on this journey. It's a beautiful view up here. It's a shame that the rest of the village will never say it.
Well, yes, they won't have to deal with pricklishi either.
It's true, I guess. You win some, you lose some.
After stopping to admire the beautiful scenery, gorgeous sunset, the crisp mountain air, you guys continue on your journey. You guys make it through the pass itself in short order. It's not particularly long. It takes maybe 45 minutes to cross. As you move through it, you do get a strange feeling. Kaylen, will you make a will save for me real quick?
Yep. So wisdom.
Yes. I think you actually have proficiency in will saves as a paladin, though.
Hang on, I'll be right back. My
D&D
dad's
has
calling
willpower
me.
as a stat.
What's that?
D&D has willpower as a stat.
It's wisdom, okay?
Oh.
I've been playing some other games recently. I'll get around to it. I guarantee I'm going to call perception search at least once. But yeah, okay. So as you guys pass, you make your way through the pass. Kaylen, there comes a moment as you are walking through when you hear something. It's very faint, almost on the edge of your perception, like a whisper in your ear. 2 words. Welcome home. They come to you almost as a hiss. And when you turn to look in the direction you heard them from, there's nothing. Just your companions. The only one even close enough to say anything is Fiona, and she's not looking so hot.
Who said that?
You think so?
Did you say that out loud?
Yes. I sort of look around and I'm just like, who said that?
Okay, Fiona's gonna look at you really oddly and say what?
Never mind then.
Okay, she shrugs it off.
All right. So we're gonna do something amazing here, guys. It's gonna blow your mind. You guys make your way out of the pass, and by the time you do so, the sun has set far enough that on this side of the mountains it is dark. Dusk, if you will. And as you pass to the other side, you see the Zvalage woods, their continuation, covered in fog once again. And as you descend, you make your way into what almost feels like familiar territory. The trees look similar. The fog is similar. Even the darkness is similar. And yet, you know, there's somewhere. You guys are. Tag the map if you're not over there. Hopefully, you'll see the token eventually.
It's super blurry. Has it not loaded?
It takes a minute. This map is gigantic.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, loaded.
Yes.
One should actually have control of it, though.
No, I see it.
Yeah, we'll move. Space at a time, so to speak. But yeah, you guys, make the woods again, the mountain slope. As night has fallen, you find yourselves out of the fog. The trees rising up to either side of you on and it looks like most path, a dirt road leading forward, are truly in the land now. It's obvious that it has been raining here, that it has been raining everywhere else. Black pools of water stand dark mirrors to and around the muddy road. Streets kind of frame everything. They look like walls in many ways, hemming you in to either side. Now that you guys have made your way through the mountain pass and into the lands of Barovia itself, is there anything you want to do before proceeding?
I was figuring that on the long trek, maybe the party took a little bit of time to just chat and talk about like their backgrounds a little bit and why they were here. If that's all right with the rest of the party.
Sure.
Yeah.
Was there anything specific mentioned or said?
I would say like to start off the conversation, John would have been like, "All right, so you all know why I'm here, but I don't know. I figure I'd like to get to know the rest of you better. You all came here looking to get into Barovia even before the whole disaster in Willoughby.
Fiona will reply. I have some unfinished business in there.
Yeah, what sort of unfinished business? You've been here before then?
Kind of, but I don't remember much of it.
One of those nights, eh? I understand. I understand perfectly well.
Ooh, a secret mission. How exciting.
She gives a little. She's gonna like laugh half-heartedly. It's like, yeah, I'm sure it's very exciting.
Well, I am, as you know, Balthazar at DeBaum from the Alchemist Guild, certified alchemist, graduate from the University of Ostmark. Any of you have been to Ostmark before?
I'm gonna bet against it. Fiona may have possibly traveled through Ostmark on her journey south towards Barovia. So maybe you've gone through it that way. Kaylen probably went to Ostmark, but it was a very long time ago.
I would say that maybe John has, because he used to be part of an army, and maybe he went there as a part of a march on a campaign or something.
I fully accept that. Yeah, if you want to say that's true, absolutely. In that case, then yeah. I imagine if nothing else, all of you guys have heard of Ostmark, seat of the High Emperorship in the Sea of Crowns.
At the mention of Ostmark, I sort of do a low chuckle to myself in remembrance of all the hot babes, all of the sophisticated city babes.
Well, yes, it is indeed a remarkable city. You know, it is on the verge of a technological and industrial revolution.
It's a gizmo town, right?
It's kind of like dark steampunk.
I'm willing to accept that. Yeah, imagine the way I've been picturing it is like it is it is already in the Victorian age in many ways.
I was thinking more of like the Prussian, like the German Empire, or like the Prussian Empire of sorts.
That's almost explicitly what it is, except imagine it more decadent because it's supposed to be Austria.
Right. Yeah. Like I was thinking in terms of fucking Warhammer, because I've been playing the Total War Warhammer series recently, and it'd be like the Empire in that game, right? So like early steampunk,
it's like
early
full of like
gunpowder.
aristocratic families, but like less medieval, and more like not like in steampunk, more like approaching steampunk. It's like in medieval, at the end of medieval and beginning of steampunk.
Yeah.
Beginning of the age.
They're like 1700s era, towards the end of it maybe.
Yeah.
You know,
So
there's lots
Also
of wealth.
with giant griffins.
Yes, with giant griffins. That's the defining trait. It's like the 1700s, but with magic and giant griffins.
Dude,
Fuck
let's
yeah.
just establish right now.
Dark,
Sorry,
it's dark
Dusk, you go
Eberron.
first.
Yeah, I was saying it's Dark Eberron.
Yeah, okay.
I was gonna say, let's just establish right now that the official imperial animal of the Ostmark Empire is or the Empire in general is a golden griffin.
Yeah,
No.
that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
No, you're spot on. As opposed to like the man, that's really good. Actually, I'm totally into that. Okay, but yeah,
Hell yeah.
Yes, in fact, as John mentions, griffins. Yes, of course, it is the national animal, and it is. I mean, the royal family has their own aviary of griffins, and nobody else is allowed to keep them. Only the royal family.
it's like
Nice.
falcon, but for even snootier, richer people.
Yeah, it's like the Targaryen family, but with griffins.
Okay.
Nice. I like that.
I think that then falls to Kaylen to describe a little bit about himself.
I'm just nothing but a mere adventurer who wishes to see the sights and know the land and what it is.
Really? It's peculiar you mentioned that, because and I think the rest of the party can attest to the fact that there seemed of a internal compass, as you sort of described it, specifically towards Barovia.
I'm just very intuitive.
Well, I see.
As you guys discuss little details about yourself, your pasts, your dreams, your ambitions, or whatever it is you really discussed, probably a lot about how Ostmark has changed in the last 20 years or so.
Jon is super talkative. Like he's the typical old man who just fucking loves sharing his experiences with everyone who's willing to listen. So really his whole motive in starting the conversation was to talk about himself.
Nice. I respect that. It is, as you guys continue to talk and walk, hours pass, and dusk turns fully into night. Torches are lit, and you guys continue on your way for as long as you can. It is probably around the time that you guys are maybe considering setting up camp for the evening, that out of the darkness before you, Kaylen, you see it first. It looks for a moment like a giant. You're walking when suddenly rising up out of the darkness is a figure just towering above you, high enough that you can only make out the shape of the legs at this distance and this level of darkness. And you can see a massive sword coming down between the legs, almost like it's being clutched there towards the ground. As you guys take a few steps closer, Kaylen, your vision starts to adjust properly to the darkness, and you can really start to make this thing out. It's towering, huge. There's two of them, in fact, standing to either side of the roadway. Massive, headless things staring down.
Have I seen these things before?
Have you?
I don't know, have I?
Probably not.
Are
I'll
they
give you
like
this, though.
explicitly headless, like they were designed that way, or is it more like just statues with the heads like fallen off, like throughout, like with the wearing of time?
As you get closer, Kaylen, I can confirm that for you. They do appear to be statues. And I will also give you that, though you've never seen them before, they do seem vaguely familiar to you. It's like you've seen something similar, maybe, or I don't know, maybe it was a long time ago. They're two giant statues. They look like knights. And as you get a little bit closer, you can make out that they're not headless in the design this way kind of sense. Their heads have fallen off. You can see them, in fact, lying on the ground to either side of the path, covered in moss and cracked and worn, barely recognizable as the steeled helmets of whatever lost warriors they were meant to represent. They stand to either side of the path like, massive guardians, and between them, spanning the length of the path itself, pair of iron gates, rusted, worn with age, and also shut. They, block your path forward. Although you note there's nothing stopping you from simply going around them. There's no wall this attaches to either side of the statue. It's only lie forest, wooded walls in their own way, covered in fog, but hardly enough to stop a group of adventurers. But yes, the four of you get closer, and now all of you can make them out, just barely. Night sky, moon doesn't really cut through the darkness here to any real degree. Just these two giant headless statues and the rusted iron gate between.
Is the gate closed?
Yes.
All right. So I guess like approaching the gate, I'd actually like to just try it out, just push on it a bit, see if it gives.
Jon, as you approach the gates, as you make your way towards them, you hear just ever so faintly on the edge of your vision a soft hum. And then you hear the screech of metal on metal. And before you've even reached them, gates slowly squeal open before you.
Well, that's peculiar. I didn't suppose anyone sent out a notice informing anyone of our arrival here.
Maybe someone is already aware of our arrival.
Can Fiona kind of glance around to see if anything else is moving outside there?
Absolutely. Throw me a perception check.
Oh no. Perceptio. Oops, sorry, doubled.
In the darkness to either side of you, you see the fog shifting, rolling, swirling, and imagined or real creatures darting between trees, always just out of sight. These woods, they can't help but make you feel paranoid. Maybe you are being watched.
Oh no. Can he try to say, who's there? Just because it looks like there's some movements. Just gonna go like, who's
Absolutely.
there?
You shout out, and the only return is the soft echo of your own voice. The night is silent.
I guess it's just me. I swear I
Oh,
saw
no,
something.
no. There's no need to get jumpy. Sure, force here inhabited by all sorts of critters that come alive in the night.
You're right. Sorry about that.
Must have just been a raccoon or something. Are there raccoons in this universe? There are raccoons in this universe.
Absolutely. They're definitely. This is
Except
supposed to be
they're like twice as big. And also they attack people.
So my only question is, are there European raccoons, or is that a strictly North American thing? Because like there are no European possums.
Actually, don't know.
I don't know either. I will say there are raccoons because I think that's interesting, but there are for sure no possums. That's also a lore fact.
I know that like fucking if you've seen like badgers, like European badgers compared to North American badgers.
It's night and day. But yes,
Yeah.
the gates stand open before the four of you. The night is silent, or torches, cast a dim light around you, just enough to see by to make your way forward. And by this point, it is very late. What do you want to do?
Raccoons are definitely a thing. In fact, the first thing I Google for European raccoon is raccoons have overrun Germany. The rest of Europe is next. From Business Insider.
Are they an invasive species, though?
Well, they're a
so.
pest.
They are a pest, definitely. I don't think they're invasive.
Okay, not important for now. There are definitely raccoons.
Yeah.
There might not be raccoons in Barovia, but there are definitely raccoons on the continent. We'll worry about that more later. I'm more interested in how you guys want to deal the open gates, the ever darkening night, and the deafening silence surrounding you. How do you want to proceed?
Well, no one has light on yet, right?
And torches.
Oh, someone lit torches?
I think we lit torches.
Okay,
I'm willing to give you, a free torch. Probably the village gave each one of you. That seems like something they do. There's plenty of firewood lying around, considering the state of the village. So I'm sure they got you something.
Don't the explorers pack just come with a bunch of torches?
They do indeed, but it seems like Fiona Dimsley is trying to conserve horse, which may or may not be a very good idea.
She only has 3.
Okay, well, if Fiona wants to cast the light spell again,
Oh, but since we're at level 2 now, so I've taken some invocation, so she can actually see in the dark now.
Nice. Well,
Still-
for the rest of us who can't see in the dark, though,
Only,
you still have to
I guess
party.
only Fiona and Kaylen then.
Yeah. The rest of us just have to settle for torches, I guess.
Okay.
I'll have to change the settings on
Torches
your.
are for burning villages.
Wow, that's too soon, man. Too soon.
Oh yeah. Okay, so anyway, what are we gonna do? Fiona's gonna stand there because she's still paranoid about thinking that something was outside there.
I'll go ahead.
You're gonna make
Yep.
your way to the gates.
Yep.
Okay.
I want to actively look though as I'm walking.
Sure. John, Kaylen, the two of you pass to the other side of the gate without incident. Turn back to look at your other party members. Kaylen, what are you rolling for?
shit. I'm actively looking.
For
You're
Anything,
fairly confident.
everything.
You kind of scan the woods around you that you are alone out here.
Okay.
Balthazar, Fiona, you guys stand on the other side of the gate. staring at you. What do you do?
What? I can't hear.
Balthazar and Fiona stand on the opposite side of the gate, staring after their companions who just passed through it. I want to know what the two of you want to do.
Fiona's probably gonna go in after Kaylen. She gestures to him. After
Sure.
you?
Ladies go first.
No, I
Alright.
insist. After you.
Kaylen has already gone in, I think. I think only Balthazar is remaining.
Alright, sorry. Then she gestures to Balthazar after you.
Oh no, I must insist. After you, you're the lady. I can't just leave you here in the dark wood like just prance on through the gates.
That's okay, I
Alright.
can see better now.
Well then, if you insist, madame. And then he proceeds to go through the gates.
Balthazar, you make your way through without incident. Fiona, do you follow him?
Yep. Bringing up the bag, she glances behind them as she goes past.
Fiona and Kaylen. Fiona, as you start making your way towards the gate, the last in the procession, you kind of look over your shoulder. You notice something strange. And Kaylen, you looking around, notice it about the same time. The fog had once been content to kind of sit in the woods to either side of the path, has slowly begun to seep outwards from the trees and cover the path behind you. It's slow, but it is slowly catching up with you, Fiona. And, as it kind of drifts and pulls along the ground, you start to get a very bad feeling, like you've seen this before.
Okay, Fiona's gonna hurry up, but still looking back, she's probably gonna bump into Balthazar. It's like, oops, sorry.
Ooh, oh, okay.
The two of you pass through the gate, and as you do so, as soon as you are past it, the rusty iron closes behind you and shuts with a resounding bang. And as it does so, the slowly seeping fog quits with its kind of meandering antics and suddenly just floods the path behind you, rushing up against the gate like a sudden wave. The area behind you, on the other side of the gate, has now filled with the strangely colored fog swirling dangerous looking in a way it hasn't been before.
Oh dear. Oh my. That doesn't look very good.
That doesn't look very good. Do you think we just survived something?
Don't worry about it. Just keep going ahead. The more you worry about it, the more you worry yourself. Keep cool. Let's keep going.
That was quite the statement there, Kaylen. The more you worry, the more you worry.
It's true, you know.
It is actually a completely true statement, yes.
So,
Well, I do envy your confidence.
the four of you now stand on the other side, the closed gates, still on the same muddy dirt path that you were before. Obviously, the area behind you is now in a thick layer of fog, but the path before you remains free. What do you want to do? It is, as I said, awful late.
Well, I say we keep on going and we find the nearest town to stay overnight.
Well, we can do that, or we can set up camp nearby and then find the town tomorrow. It's really up to you. I'm GM. I mean, how far can we go? How late is it?
Is the moon out?
So here's the thing about the moon. Since you guys have entered Barovia, it's been overcast, which is as expected. You know, it has been raining lately, and it seemed, based upon the Vistani man's words, that the rain might be originating from here. Even now at night, the clouds kind of hang heavy in the sky, and while the moon does exist, you can kind of see it, you know, a faint glow. It barely provides any light. It may as well not be there at all.
Well, I suggest we look for a town to stay in. It's obviously not safe out here.
No, I'd rather not sleep outside either.
I forget, were we given a map?
Say that again?
I forget whether we were given like a map or not.
No, you were not.
Right.
I mean, you have the map that you, the player, not the character, can see before you.
Yeah.
But as far as like an actual map of Barovia, according to that Vistani man, if one exists, it is within the realm of Barovia itself. You'll have to find one. That's what I'm getting at.
All right. Okay.
So is there like a beaten path, like a road of kind of thing where there is no grass and stuff growing?
Say that again?
Is there like a beaten path, like, you know, like there is like people walk and carts go through this road, and there's like no grass or anything, like people can follow that road?
Or is it a paved path?
No, it is like a muddy dirt path. And to be honest, it doesn't look like a particularly well-worn one either. You don't see much in the way of tracks. Honestly, as you guys have been making your way through, unless the rain has washed any kind of like tracks or wagon marks or horse hoof prints of some sort away, which is a strong possibility. It has been raining quite a bit. It almost looks like you might be the first people to actually walk this path in quite some time.
You really think there's a town nearby in this like weird place? This place looks like pretty abandoned. I mean, look at the gates; they're like falling apart.
It begs the question: how did the Vistani get to and fro?
Honestly, I have no idea. Do you see the Vistani camp while coming to Barovia? They just disappeared. It was spooky.
Someone want to roll me a d20?
Who
Just
does?
Who's leading the
D20.
as you guys continue walking? Who's leading the party? Who's in front?
Marching order-wise, do we say that Jon leads or Kaylen leads?
I'll lead.
Okay.
Okay, in that case, Damien, give me a flat D20 roll.
By the way, DM, would Fiona kind of know if there are people settlements inside here? I don't think it
Yes,
have been too long since she was here.
Oh, nice.
Wow,
So
20.
Those 2 20s in a row, man.
I don't necessarily think that it's a matter of how recently you were here. I get the feeling that your memories of this place are a little jumbled, so to speak. They're a little faint. They come and go. They feel almost in many ways like a dream. You know there is a village not too far past those gates, but you don't know how not too far really is. You are
Okay.
confident that there is a village somewhere along this road.
Alright, so Fiona's gonna say that we'll probably find a village if we follow this route.
All right, that's all the reason I need to get going.
So who's in the very back of the party?
Fiona.
Fiona.
Fiona, could you give me a D12 and a D8?
Oh man.
Oh, that's not
I
good.
don't like those numbers.
That's damage dice. What did Kaylen's D20 do?
It's a good question. One I can't answer.
Okay.
Secret. DM evil plots.
Man, it's lagging.
We'll get there.
Well, anyway, I got 7 for a D12. The D8 hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, it has. Oh, now it has.
Oh.
It's a
There we
7
go.
and a 3.
7 and a 3.
That's pretty average.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you guys rolling that for me. But yes, so you guys are going to continue on in the darkness then?
Yeah, and I've got dark vision. I can see through the dark.
I mean, we're lighting up like a Christmas tree because remember, Jon and Balthazar is carrying torches.
Yeah.
That's true. And they are the ones in the dead center of the party. So,
How exactly does dark vision work actually? Like, is it like I'm imagining that it's basically like regular vision except your eyes absorb more light, right? Or are more efficient at absorbing light. Or is it like actually magic so that you can actually just see in the dark, like your eyes are sending out sonar or some shit?
it's a little of both. Depends on which edition you're playing. So previously, in like every edition before this, you have a difference between low light and infravision.
Yeah.
Low light vision is the one that's like sort of like what most animals do, where it's black and white, and it requires some light, but not nearly the level of light that human beings require to see. Infravision, on the other hand, is like heat vision, being able to see thermal signatures, kind of like how snakes taste the air and see. And if you had both, that is where you get dark vision from, because then under those circumstances, there is like no lighting situation where you're ever at any kind of penalty. You can always see in the dark.
Yeah, and then you have the uber dark vision, double sight.
Oh yeah, and that see through magical darkness, and then you got like true sight. You see through all magic of any kind, and dark sight.
Right.
Because D&D doesn't care about, or 5th edition doesn't care about that shit. Dark vision just works. In the dark, you can see to a certain distance. Usually, like human beings are fairly limited as far as being able to see in the dark. You have like a vision limit.
Yeah.
They have a vision limit of 60, which is like, I think like 3 or 4 times better than what you can see. And it counts as, normal light, and then past a certain distance, it counts as dim light, and then it's back to darkness again. It really only matters for descriptive purposes and for penalties. Because trying to do ranged attacks or melee attacks in total darkness is much harder.
I was just thinking, because for regular human beings, when we're standing inside a source of light, then looking out into the darkness is significantly harder, right?
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. So do we have to put out our torches to see
If we were playing
in the dark, or
if we were playing an OSR game, and I was a very mean GM, and I am, so if we were playing an OSR game, this would be true, then absolutely. But because this is 5th edition, and it's a little more pulp heroics, and I find that level of tedium unnecessary for the kind of fast and loose rules we're playing with, I'm going to say no, because I just don't care enough.
I mean, in the worst case, I can I wish I could fluff my torches like a oil lantern.
You can definitely get an oil lantern at some point. Basically, what it comes down to, Darren, is lighting and darkness penalties do matter, but they don't matter enough for me to micromanage them.
nice.
Does that help?
All right. Okay. Cool. All right.
Consider
Half of us have
darkness.
torches. Half of us don't have torches.
Yes.
Easy. All right.
Yes. Also, just check the picture in the chat. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
It's pretty good. So, you guys continue forward, moving through the dark. I imagine everybody but Kaylen, probably a little bit tired by this point. You've been walking now, probably going on 16 hours at this point, if we're being honest, since early in the morning. And it's starting to, the feeling is starting to creep into you. You're sleepy, you're tired, maybe not as alert as you could be. But Kaylen's in front, and he just keeps marching on, tireless. Goddamn elves.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Man, we have been marching for a long time. Can we just set up camp and just take a bit of a nap? I understand that you guys don't want to set up camp, but look at this place. Where will you find a town?
Yeah, I'm sort of leaning towards setting up camp too. Honestly.
I can still walk for days, but okay, if you guys want.
Oh, I mean, if that's the case, then maybe you can keep up watch for us.
I'll see.
I'll help with second watch.
So, you guys are setting up camp then?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. So, Fiona is not one of those sleepless warlocks, right? Those that don't need sleep. The aspect of the movie.
No. I need sleep. I don't really want to sleep here in the forest though, but I don't think I can hold it in anymore.
So, you guys are going to set up camp. Are you going to set up camp right in the middle of the muddy road, or are you going to step off into the forest and set up camp there?
I figured it'd be right at the edge.
You could, yeah. There's some space. There's no proper clearing nearby, though. I mean, there might be somewhere around here, but there's not one where you guys currently are.
I mean, if it's just a completely empty road, I don't see why we would can't just settle right in the middle of the road.
It's up to you guys. Tell me explain to me how you set up camp. What's it look like? What kind of preparations do you make?
Set up the tent, get some firewood, and light the campfire.
Do you have a tent?
I have a bedroll.
That is not a tent, but okay.
Yes.
I think everyone has a bedroll.
Oh, no.
I don't think anyone has like a tent or a tarp though.
Fiona doesn't have a bedroll.
What?
She's gonna put her
Guess-
chest
gue-
down.
Guess who'll be sleeping on the floor?
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's fine. I have a cloak. So she instead of a backpack, she actually carries like a chest for some reason. Yeah, she puts it down.
Does Kaylen
That's,
have does
that-
Kaylen have a bedroll? Guess
It's-
not.
Yeah.
So before we go any further, that chest that you have, that is not like a full-sized like
No,
traveling
but
or
she's
like a chest or something like that.
yeah, it's like a half the size or something.
It's meant to be more like it's like a slightly oversized briefcase.
Yep.
And it carries
Mm.
your very special supplies in it.
Yeah.
Have
Oh,
you
okay.
seen the
I kind of
Dead Strangling trailer?
no. Oh, that's straddling. Oh, I can only remember the baby.
Death Strangling, Death
Stranding, stranding.
Standing,
Stranding.
Strangling.
Stop it.
Shit, how do you pronounce it? It's Death Stranding, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Death Stranding, yeah. Dude, that last trailer was pretty. It's pretty good. Too bad I don't have a PS4.
Yeah, she kind of carries something like that anyway. But yeah, I kind of figured like the duffel bag size chest. Would that be
Yeah,
correct?
I can accept that. I'll show you how I imagined it. But
So-
absolutely, I
yeah.
think that's fine.
So she kind of puts it down and like uses her cloak to like cover the ground and also uses the chest as a pillow kind of. So yeah. She lies on top of her cloak and like put her head on the chest. Kind of thingy.
That's kind of sad. But I accept
Yeah, well, probably more like
I-
she cuddles. She what huddles on the pillow. I'll draw it one day. What I'm thinking of.
I think that seeing how fucking these kids are just coming in unprepared, obviously never been a part of a long one, or fucking John's just like, ugh, Fiona, you can have my bed. And he says, handing it over, and he just fucking plunks next to a fucking tree and tries to get as comfortable as he can.
No, I'm used to this. I'm fine. I assure you.
Don't insult me. Just take the bloody bedroll.
Fiona grudgingly accepts the bedroll.
Fucking
Not
kids.
trying to insult you. So she takes out the bedroll and like yeah, she opens the bedroll on top of her cloak so that it doesn't get dirty.
Oh, that's very considerate. Balthazar, did you say you were starting a fire? Like a little bonfire?
Yeah, I have the mess kit. I think mess kit is for cooking. I don't know.
Mess kit is for cooking, but that's okay. I assume someone here has a tinderbox.
I mean, Balthazar literally is firebomb, so...
Oh yeah, you also just have gunpowder, so it shouldn't be that
Yeah.
hard. Someone can definitely start a fire here. I assume if you can't find a way to do it the good old-fashioned way, someone here can probably magic a fire into existence.
Yeah.
Kaylen's gonna look at the party and he's gonna be like, can someone take the first watch? Then I'll take second.
So question, who wants to take the first watch?
I'll take the first watch,
Thank
seeing
you.
as I don't have a bedroll anyway.
That's fair.
Well,
Okay.
I'm gonna duck out for like this is in the RP. Kaylen looks at you guys and he says, "I'm gonna duck out for a few seconds. I'll be back."
Is it number 1 or number 2?
Number 2. Definitely
Alright.
number 2.
Don't stray too far from the camp.
All right. With that, Kaylen steps away from the camp and into the darkness, leaving the three of you kind of sitting around the fire.
While I'm in the darkness, I'm gonna try and locate a creature, like a rabbit or
We'll,
something.
we'll definitely handle that. You go ahead and roll me a survival check. We'll see how you do. The rest of you, though, anyone making dinner?
She's just gonna eat the rations that they got.
Yeah, wishes.
Dried rations? Okay.
Yeah.
Totally fine. Meal of...
Too hungry to be hunting right now. Too hungry and tired.
I'm gonna be real with you guys. As far as like adventure rations go, I hate the old hardtack and like jerky. I think that's the worst. I don't know if you guys have ever eaten hardtack, but it's fucking awful. So, in a different direction, I'm gonna throw you. You guys have, considering you got your supplies from the village and you've got your rations with you, I'm gonna say you've got some like, Willoughby has a big lake next to it, so I imagine the rations you received specifically from them, so the 7 days worth of rations you got from them, it's a lot of like dried, salted, smoked fish, and probably some like very dry, stale, crunchy bread.
Yeah, like horse bread.
Yes, and cheese, a lot of cheese. Like little chunks, usually wrapped in wax. Some of it moldy, intentionally so. You're supposed to cut that off, and then you just eat it as is. Cheese preserves real well if you're using the right kinds. So
Wait.
like hard, both cheeses and crunchy breads, salted fish.
Nice.
I just wanna ask. Well, right now we have light, so that's probably okay. But if it's just through dark vision, can we tell the mold on the cheese?
Yeah, okay. I'm fine with that. I will yeah, okay. So
Okay.
Alright, that was a very important piece of information that was good to know, just in case.
throw it in the chat real quick so that I remember, and then I'll anyways, yeah, dried rations. They're good. They're better rations than maybe some of you are used to eating on the road. I imagine maybe you are used to the classic adventurer style hardtack and jerky, but this is pretty good. Warm fire helps keep the kind of like dampness and surprising. Actually, no. It helps keep the dampness and the cold of the kind of like semi-mountainous air, and the wetness of how humid and rainy it's been away. It's comfortable, it's nice, and it's probably the first time since you guys have entered the Zvalich woods that you felt even remotely comfortable. As you guys set up your bedrolls for the evening and prepare to sleep, what is on your minds?
I am humming a old marching song to myself while I'm prepping the camp and the rations a bit, reminiscing about the good old days of back in the campaign.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'm gonna hit the sack. After
Okay.
Finding a rabbit is on my mind.
Oh, yes. So we cut away from the campfire as Jon Kirkland kind of sits up, his back against the tree, staring out into the night, maybe with his hammer held in both hands across his lap. He probably is facing away from the fire to preserve his night vision, give him the best chance possible to spot incoming enemies. The old tactics of an old, well-worn seasoned mercenary. As we pan away, we find ourselves in the Svalich woods themselves. Not too far from the campfire. We can still see its glow dimly in the distance between the trees. Our friend, Kaylen, kind of knelt close to the ground, sniffing the air, glancing around in the darkness. Kaylen, you're hungry. You're hoping to perhaps preserve rations. And the easiest way you've found to do that, at least recently, some good old-fashioned hunting. You had expected the game and wildlife here within the lands of Barovia to be somewhat sparse based on what you've heard of this place, but you weren't expecting to see so little of anything at all. No real game tracks, no sign of deer near here, no tiny rabbits, but what you do find everywhere you look are paw prints. Wolves of all shapes and sizes, you would have to guess based on the incredible size of some of these prints. It's kind of shocking just how many wolf tracks you find. And it's as you are following a particular set, you start to realize that some of these are fairly recent, perhaps from today even. By this point, we can see that the fire is no longer visible behind you. You've moved quite a distance from the camp by now. And as you follow them, you hear something distantly. It sounds like a man crying. And then, almost as soon as you hear it, carried faintly to you by the wind, you find yourself standing stock still as the cry of a wolf rings out through the night. It's loud, louder than you maybe would have guessed, because it sounds very, very close. But it's deep and guttural. The kind of wolf that would make a sound like that would have to be very large indeed.
Can I start sneaking?
I assume you're already sneaking, but if you want to roll me a stealth check, you're more than welcome to.
Nice.
Will you also throw me a perception check?
Well,
So-
you were bound to pay for those 20s at one point or another.
So I'll give it to you like this. You get low to the ground, you start creeping your way forward, kind of keeping your eyes open. We can see maybe reflected in the extremely dim light from the moon that his eyes are glowing an almost unnatural shade of yellow. And as he sniffs the air again, kind of glances out into the darkness, and we can see moving between the trees shapes. Big shapes. Wolves. Not ordinary sized wolves, though. Massive, mangy, terrifying things. As big as the ones you saw in the village. But even from here, you can tell there's a certain savageness to them that makes you wonder if they're more or less dangerous. You see them run through the trees distantly. One of them stops for a moment, and you're almost certain that you feel it looking at you. It seems to stare in your direction for a moment before it seems to answer the cry of the first wolf, howls in return. You start to understand why these howls are so loud, so deep, and so savage as you look at the size of this creature. It finishes its cry, seems to scan the woods once more, and you can feel its eyes pass over you. And then it runs off to rejoin its companions, leaving you alone in the dark once again. You could probably follow in the direction of those wolves, but I will also give you that you remember fighting those wolves back in the village, and you saw at least 5 or 6 this time.
Yeah, I'm gonna head back to the camp and I'll just settle for a ration tonight.
Sure. John, as you are kind of sitting, staring into the darkness, you hear the wolf howls too. They're close enough for concern, in fact. Imagine, kind of sit upright a little bit, kind of grip the weapon a little tighter.
Yeah.
The wolves do seem to be heading away from you, but all the same, that's closer perhaps than you expected. And it's maybe as you're staring into the darkness, kind of trying to measure the distance, see if it's worth waking the others over, quite suddenly, seeming to almost drip out of the darkness, steps Kaylen. One moment he's not there, and the next he seems to just puddle up out of the darkness and stand before you in the firelight.
So,
Cool.
have a good dump then.
Yeah, I did. I also saw a few wolves, so I thought I'd come back.
Nice. I guess the wolves would have helped you in your passage, I sort of chuckled to myself. That was a funny one.
I'm glad you're amused.
John, your watch kind of continues like that as you and Kaylen sit around the fire. Every once in a while, you'll distantly hear the cry of a wolf, all in the same general location, it seems. And every once in a while, you'll hear an echoing, cry farther off, as though in response. This continues all night. It never ends. You go to sleep, and Kaylen, it becomes your watch, and the cries still continue. And by the time you wake Fiona for her watch, the cries still echo throughout the night. And it is only when Balthazar is awoken for the last watch that the cries finally die down. And as daylight breaks, and you prepare to wake the others for the continued journey ahead, Balthazar, you hear perhaps the final cry. The wolves howl. They sound far off at this point, and there is no return howl this time. And an hour.
Do they Ichi howl?
Say that again?
Do they sound like the Pricolici? Wolves.
They do sound similar. I don't know if saying they sound exactly the same is exactly fair, though.
Can I make out the difference? Using a nature check or something?
So this is going to sound strange. These sound like big wolves, which are scary, right? That howl of the Pricolici was like a primal fear. When you heard that, especially as close as it was, there was a small part of your animal brain that just reacted on a primal gut level and told you to run. An instant response from your flight or flight. And in this case, it just sounds like wolves. Big wolves, scary wolves, but not life-ending wolves, if that makes sense.
Okay. Good thing daylight is breaking, so we're safe, right? Haha. And as Balthazar wakes up, he'll wash his face and stuff with a water skin or something, and then he'll try to actually do something that he has been wanting to do. He'll investigate. He'll pull out his alchemist tools before actually daylight breaks and everybody wakes up, and try to analyze this fog, see what he can find.
Sure. Give me. Did you already do a roll for it? You did a roll to capture?
No, yeah, it was.
Real quick.
Okay, so is it an alchemist tool check or?
Yeah, most definitely.
All right, 21.
It's a fantastic roll.
Nice.
You start looking over the fog as you're watching. There's not a lot to do. The wolf howls have died down. Daylight has nearly broken, so you're feeling safe enough to kind of work on this. You pull out your supplies, and you start, testing for various reactions with the fog. And you discover something interesting. Number one, for all analytical purposes, save one, this appears to be completely normal fog. You're actually a little bit surprised, considering the coloring and everything, that there are no strange reactions to it at all. All your tests seem to return that it's simply water vapor. But kind of on a whim, you decide to test to see if perhaps there's, as you're going through your chemical tests, you figure you may as well run the full battery. And as you do so, when you test for like poisonous irritants, the test results turn back positive. This it's if what you're looking at is correct, breathing this fog, which is something this whole party has already done at some point, according to your tests, might be deadly.
But it didn't kill us when we did.
Yes.
That is strange indeed. That it's poisonous, but it's only poisonous under certain circumstances.
And
can I make a deduction that it's magically poisonous and not because if it was generally poisonous, it would be poisonous all the time.
Yes, you can, no need to even roll. Considering that by all other tests, it seems to just be water vapor, and it's only on this one particular poisonous irritant style test, of which I will also give you, you've only ever heard of a few other solutions that can do this. Burning phosphorus under the right circumstances. There's a type of sulfurous compound that can be made by rotting eggs and using, I believe, sand under the right circumstances. And a relatively new invention, a type of you've only seen it tested a few times on lab animals at the university. It's like a colorless, odorless gas. It looks very faintly like fog under the right circumstances that causes death in anything that breathes it. Those are about the only things that you can think of that cause similar effects, but all of those are testable.
Interesting.
Your instruments. This seems
at this point
actual water vapor.
So at this point, Balthazar will think that the base reagent, the base foundation of this poison is probably inert, but there is some kind of catalyst, be it technological, mundane, or magical, that when the catalyst adds to a reaction, then it becomes poisonous. And he has no idea.
Is Balthazar going to CS sheet?
Yeah, so does Balthazar have any idea what the catalyst may be?
Considering again that this came back as completely normal water vapor on all other tests, your best guess is that this is probably magical in nature, unless this is the kind of science that you have, no experience with. Something that they didn't teach you about in university.
Interesting. Balthazar will do one last test since there's a curse involved. He will add a single drop of holy water into the reaction and see how it reacts.
When you add a drop of holy water to this, the holy water turns to steam.
Oh, definitely evil magic involved.
Turns to what?
To steam.
Steam.
Oh no.
Not even fog. It steams up. You can see it sizzle as it touches.
Oh, yeah. Balthazar could definitely deduce that this is definitely something evil, either fiendish or maybe undead things involved.
Certainly nothing good.
So certainly nothing good. Something explicitly evil. Otherwise, if normal magic won't react with holy water. And yes, he carries holy water with him for a certain bomb reaction.
Of course he does. As what kind of self-respecting alchemist wouldn't carry a vial of holy water on him?
Of course.
That's just Jesus plus water, which is alchemy as far as I'm concerned.
Definitely.
But yes, strange reactions. And I will say that as you finish up your testing, daylight has come. It's probably around time to start waking up the others and maybe getting on with the journey.
Yeah, he's like, all right, guys, wake up, rise and shine. It's time for breakfast.
I think it's at this point where Jon finally begins to fall asleep because he's had a very restless night and he's just like, fuck it, whatever.
Did someone say breakfast? Yeah,
Yes.
no, perks up.
And when everybody sees Balthazar, it's like there's an alchemist set lying on the floor, and he was just working on something, like different kind of bubbling liquids.
Is that breakfast?
No, I certainly hope not. You don't want to drink any of that.
Okay, she looks around a bit more. Oh, are we just only making breakfast?
We will begin making breakfast as soon as you wake up, madame.
I'm gonna go hunt for something. I'll be back.
She rolls up the back roll and gives it to Jon. It's like, thank you. It was so much comfier.
Don't mention it. Seriously though, we'll get you a bed sheet. First thing we get to the town. Fucking too fucking old for this shit.
I'm gonna
Okay.
go see if I can find a rabbit or something.
No need to roll survival this time. You head out into the woods through the fog a little bit, and you find exactly what you found the night before. Just copious amounts of wolf tracks headed in all different kinds of directions, new and old, of all different shapes and sizes, and very little evidence of game of any kind. I will even give you a suspiciously low amount of any kind of game tracks of any sort.
I'll go back to camp then.
Are there
Yeah,
any
look,
fruit trees around? Berries?
No. The trees around here are these gray-barked, dark-leafed, mostly dead at this point, considering we're near the end of fall. Just very sad, gray-looking trees. They've got branches that kind of gnarl upwards, like fingers clawing at the sky. It's not a fruit tree kind of area.
How sad. Fiona's gonna go up to the nearest tree and start carving another sun with a smiley face on it. She'll pause halfway, thinking twice, but then she'll continue to do it anyway.
Nice.
That should
Okay.
make you look happier.
All right. You guys eat breakfast. Probably again dry rations, unless someone wants to try their hand at cooking. and soon enough, you guys are packed up and ready to head onwards. It is early in the morning at this point, and while the sun is out, the clouds hang heavy overhead, casting the whole world into like a dim, what's the word for it? It's an overcast, shadowy kind of light. Difficult to see by, or not difficult to see by, but soft and shadowy all the same. You guys are welcome to proceed at your leisure, however you'd like to.
What I miss?
The path stretches.
Oh, we were just packing and beginning to leave.
Okay, cool. I break open that bottle of whiskey that I got, and I take a swig because my back is fucking killing me.
Aha! Champion of breakfast. Breakfast of champions, I see.
Only real heroes take their eggs with whiskey.
It's what we call a Kirklandish coffee.
All right.
It's just hard whiskey.
Okay.
Is it bitter like coffee?
It's bitter like whiskey.
It's whiskey. Come on. Like, have you never had whiskey before?
Not really.
I'm sure we'll get you acquainted with Lady Whiskey in a short while here.
Okay.
Oh, I suppose we should Sean.
You guys headed out then?
Yeah.
All right. You guys set out on the path once again, driving packed your supplies. So, you guys continue on the path, headed ever so slightly. I got to think about my direction sense here real quick. Headed south a little bit. The road takes a sharp bend after the gate. You find yourselves headed deeper into the forest. It's about an hour after breakfast. You guys are marching along when Fiona and Jon, you two catch a strange smell on the wind. It's very faint at first, soft kind of irony smell, blood, almost certainly. And then once you smell that, it's gone for a moment, and then the wind picks up a little bit again, and it carries with it not just the smell of blood, but the smell of rot and decay.
Oh, what's that smell?
I smell it too. It's not good. Smells of death.
Once pointed out, Kaylen, Balthazar, two of you pick it up as well.
Well, should we go check it out?
Does it smell edible?
Not at all.
Damn.
Sounds like somebody killed something and left it to rot.
We should be careful then.
What direction is the smell coming from? Would we know?
Smells, considering the way the wind's blowing, it smells like it might be coming from further down the path.
All right. In that case, we go further down the path, I guess.
You guys make your way a little bit further in the direction that you're headed, and you almost miss it. Jon, you're kind of glancing off into the woods, kind of watching the swirling of the fog, when you glance down and notice a scrap of cloth sticking out of a small hollow, the base of a tree. It's just off to the right of the path. And it is around here that, by this point, that smell of death is kind of overwhelming.
That's peculiar. I say as I point out the little hollow. So I want to move closer to peer into it.
You move from the path off to the right just a little bit, and you see it almost right away. There's a little bit of a divot right in front of where the hollow is, and as soon as you look down into it, you can see what remains of a man. Blood has pooled there. You can see limbs in places they shouldn't be, all tangled up and twisted.
Do we
The
see
man
it?
has been. Anyone who walks with Jon can obviously see this.
I think seeing it immediately, I sort of just motioned everyone next. It's all right. I think to say here, just a decomposing corpse.
That's the thing. It's decomposing a little bit, but I would say most of you probably recognize this as a relatively fresh kill.
Okay, Fiona would be the last to approach, so if Jon says don't nothing to see, she's not going to go up to it. So the rest of you would see it.
Examining a little bit, do I see anything particularly off about the corpse or how it was killed or why it was stuffed into a tree?
So there are a couple of strange things about this, because as you look at the corpse, you realize it looks like this man was maybe trying to crawl into the hollow before he was mangled. You also note that he's been twisted and crunched, obviously, but he's also been torn in many areas and chewed. Give me a perception check, though.
Okay.
One who's checking out the corpse.
I'll also be checking out the corpse.
Okay.
And maybe also I don't know, would medicine do anything here?
Not at this point.
Yeah.
It's a little late to try and fix him, and it's a little late to try and determine cause.
Well, I mean, we can examine the wound and see the cause and stuff, right?
He probably died of intense, mauling and mangling, you would have to guess. Maybe blood
Very
loss.
astute of you, DM. Thanks for that.
No problem. Happy to help. So both of you, as you get a little bit closer, you kind of kneel down to look into the hollow and glance at the corpse. You notice that one of the arms, the least mangled one, is outstretched. You can see his hand has kind of reached towards the back of the hollow, like he's trying to grab at something.
Interesting. I sort of look over to Kaylen and I say, you curious as to what he's grabbing at there?
Very.
You want to rock, paper, scissors to see who has to go in there?
Or we can both do it.
What is a hollow?
I was guessing literally like a bear den type hole in the at the base of the tree. Although I could be wrong. Yeah.
I'll send a picture. Don't worry. Continue with what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I say although I would love to be in a dark, confined place with you, Kaylen, I don't think we will both fit in there.
You can go.
What are you guys so interested about over there? Fiona starts to come up because you guys are taking so long there.
He's reaching for something back there.
Or she can go.
All right, I'll tell you what. Since we're gonna pull the corpse out of here anyway, Why don't I go see what he's reaching for, and the rest of you can dig a little hole for him. How's that, eh?
Oh, I'll help with digging the hole. She starts to look through her pack, what she has.
I'll go with John. I think John shouldn't go alone.
Okay. So sort of, I guess I unpack a torch, and
It's if you're gonna get in there, I mean, it's not that big. You're gonna be like crawling in the remains of the man whose body is still there.
I mean, I figured we would be pulling him out first, and then going in.
I mean, the ground underneath him is slick with gore and blood. It's kind of turned the divot and the inside of the hollow into a little bit of a slurry of mud and filth.
Listen,
Yeah,
a lot of you know,
I will not go in there.
John's been assigned to many a duty during the campaign, and one such duty was burial duty. All right, lots of corpses after a battle, lots of trenches need to be dug. John's used to it.
Well then, go ahead, sir, because I will not sully my clothes.
All right. Ugh, too
DM,
fucking old for this shit.
Yes.
can Fiona use her crowbar to kind of dig a hole?
Your what?
She has a crowbar.
The crowbar? If you want to, yes. I don't know if I will give you any special advantages, but if that is narratively how you want to dig out the hole, that is absolutely acceptable.
Yeah, that's the only thing she
So,
has that has claws or like hooks.
And at this point, Balthazar will say, looking at the corpse, so is it like burial your custom, or like cremation also an option? And he pulls out some gunpowder and says, if option 2 is okay, then,
Back in the campaign, we didn't have enough fire in the world to bury all the corpses. We just dug trenches and made mass graves.
Well then, I guess we can just cremate this corpse.
I shrug and I say, whatever's fastest.
So, John,
Yeah.
so you guys pull the corpse out, you climb down into the divot, right? And you find yourself up to your ankles in battlefield mud.
Yeah.
It smells horrific, like death and rot and decay and sewage and filth.
I shout back up the hall. I don't suppose any of you has a shower spell that we could use after this, eh?
No, sir.
Ugh, whatever. Let's just help me find the town quickly then. I say as I go further in.
John, you have to get down on your knees to kind of fit inside the hollow, especially presumably with your armor on.
Yeah.
So you kind of, force your way underneath. The hollow is not very deep. You kind of look around. You can't see much because it's dark. So you reach an arm back and kind of feel around for a bit. And after a moment, you grab something made of cloth. It's got some weight to it, too.
All right.
Hard to see in the hollow, but you do have a hold of it.
All right. So, grabbing the cloth bag or whatever in one hand, I sort of use the other hand to feel around a bit more, see if there's anything I missed.
Not really. You mostly just find your hands running through the slurry of filth, which is kind of poured into the base of the hollow by now.
Nice. All right. In which case I say, got it. Come back up.
John emerges from the little divot, kind of pulls himself up. I imagine the divot only comes up to about waist height. You kind of push yourself up pretty easily, and behind you, you pull out a backpack. It's patchwork, clearly old, frayed in many areas, barely held together, in all honesty. You can't tell if it's old because it's been sitting in this hollow so long, or if that man just happened to have a particularly ramshackle pack. But it appears to be a backpack of some sort.
Right, and I'm just gonna go wipe this filth off me. You guys want to look through the pack after you're done digging a hole for this guy, or setting him on fire. I don't care.
Yes, but before Balthazar sets them on fire, I'll say, any last words? Anyone want to say anything? Not that there is much to say, but you know.
I will remember you.
Okay.
And foop. Some gunpowder and a drop of red alchemical liquid and foop.
Is there anyone in this group who is, I don't know, particularly religious to any degree? I kind of figured the alchemist and Kaylen aren't particularly religious at this point.
I'm religious. What are you on about?
Okay. So then tell me,
Sorry, go ahead.
both of you. So I would like to hear from Kaylen specifically, and I'd like to hear from Jon specifically. Is there like a passing prayer that you say? Is there like a cultural deal?
Sorta. Like when people die, usually it's just a little. You clutch the holy symbol, and you just wave the hand over the body, and then you clutch the holy symbol some more. Close your eyes and think about good thoughts, and then passing over.
Okay. Jon, anything that your people do?
John's actually a part of a slightly different religion. He doesn't like to share it a lot because it's considered very blasphemous to a lot of people.
So,
but John, you could say it's a bit of a cult at the moment. But John doesn't believe in. John believes in monotheism, or rather, his religion is a monotheism, which means that he worships just one God who he believes is all powerful, and his religion basically isn't. His religion doesn't grant him any special power. It's just a faith, and through his faith, John believes that he'll one day be delivered to a promised land after death.
The time?
Yeah, something like that. But I digress. So basically, so John's prayer would be something like something along the lines of, "May the promised land be ever on your journey," or something like that.
May your journey take you forever towards the promised lands.
I like that. Yeah, let's go with that. May your journey take you ever to
somewhere, so that I remember it. Okay, so then Fiona, you're the last person I'd like to ask. Do your people have any kind of passing prayer?
Well, for Fiona's people, probably they do, but she's not quite interested in it much. She doesn't go to funerals much. And her parents don't really have close relatives, so the only one that she really went to was her father's. But she was too distraught to do any kind of a prayer, and she doesn't like thinking about it much. So for this one, she's kind of just like watching, but a little belatedly, she suddenly like straightens up, like she remembers something, and she claps both her hand and close her eyes and say, "May the light of Lathander guide you to your next birth." And then she opens back her eye and look like, "Oh yes, I did it."
Okay.
Well, hopefully next time he will be reborn as a wolf.
It would really
That's not
help
a
me.
nice thing to say.
Balthazar, you've already told us what the passing prayer is like where you're from. The great church there, they've got an elaborate passing prayer for those who, pay service to the church and act as true believers and follow the faith. And for the people who don't do that, the passing prayer is called a stake burning, and it sets someone on fire. And you've done a very good job of that. So it seems good.
Good luck. I will decompose all your carbons in the body.
Nice. All right. As you guys, are saying the passing prayer, as his body burns, Kaylen, you hear something nearby, something moving through the trees. And it's not even a moment later as you kind of turn to face whatever might be out there that the sound of a wolf howling from very, very close suddenly fills the air. And another wolf cries out in response, not that far from it.
Ah, fuck. What now?
In the daytime? Oh, give me a break.
Let me at least clean off this fucking blood. You know why I use a warhammer? Do you? You know why I use a warhammer? Because I don't like the fucking guts getting all over me. That's why I use a warhammer.
Kaylen, you can see it first. It passes between two trees, not too far away in the woods. It's swift, it's fast, and it's there for just a moment before it's gone again. And then a third howl, more distant than the second, but it sounds like it's coming closer. What do you guys want to do?
Everyone is gonna say, all right. If anything, I'm going to talk to these wolves and see if there are.
Excuse me, sir. Did you just say you talk to these wolves? And Balthazar just like perks up his spectacles.
I'm gonna talk to them with my weapon.
Oh.
All right.
That makes more sense.
Here's the thing.
What do you think I meant? You can't talk to wolves. They're stupid.
Very good, sir.
We handled one wolf back in the village, and it nearly gutted me. You think we can handle 3 wolves right now?
Nearly gutted you, being the word.
I shrug and I say, well, what can I say?
I suggest we keep moving. If the wolf catches up to us, okay. If the wolf doesn't catch up to us, that's even better.
Yeah, I say we make it before we rather than confronting the wolves.
The nerd's right. Let's go.
All right.
Cool.
Also
make sure to grab the bag.
And this is a very innocuous question. It has no real importance or bearing on the story. But do you take that backpack with you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And John will carry it.
Good. Okay.
Nothing to do with the story at all. Carry on.
Yeah.
Not even a little. You guys grab the pack. You glance over at the smoldering corpse again. And then before the wolf howls again, you guys are making your way away from the body and down the path at a very brisk pace.
John walks awkwardly because there's a little bloody mud stuck in his britches.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
You guys hear the wolves howl behind you again, and I will even give whoever's at the back of the party, probably Fiona or Balthazar, to get a glance over your shoulder. You could see 2, and then a third wolf joins them. These massive wolves step out and are sniffing around the hollow and sniffing around the burning body. They seem to be, they look at each other a little bit, and you can hear like a little bit of barking, but then you guys are around a corner, turn in the path, and they're behind you, and then a 4th and a 5th and then a 6th howl ring out.
Holy cow.
Oh, it's a good thing we didn't
Wow.
stick around, eh?
Yes. Do these look like normal wolves or like werewolves?
They look like really big, really savage wolves.
Not good. Not good at all. Let's keep moving.
All right. Kaylen, give me another D20 roll. I believe in you. Yeah. You guys continue down the path without incident. You guys occasionally hear the howl of wolves behind you, but beyond that, it's a relatively quiet walk. As you
Boy,
the road, signs of actual wildlife begin to return. You see occasionally the stray deer standing far off in the woods, skittish, bolting as soon as you notice them. Bugs start to reappear in the woods. You find yourselves confronted every once in a while with the occasional beetle of some sort. And perhaps most notably, the birds return. You hear the loud squawking, the angry chatter, if you will, of all manner of corvids among the trees. Ravens, magpies, crows. You see some of them more often than not, you only hear them out there. Very, very few other kinds. Every once in a while, the distant cry of a songbird, maybe. But for the most part, it seems that the only birds around here are the scavenger variety. Eventually, after maybe 2 or 3 hours of walking, it's probably around noontime at this point, you guys pass out of the Svalich woods for the first time in a day and suddenly find yourself in not quite a field, sort of like rolling terrain. It's hilly, some areas kind of flat in others, occasional trees rising up here and there. It looks like maybe this area could have once been farmland, but it's hard to say at this point. To the south of you, to the direct south, as you kind of step out and look around, you can see sparkling somewhat in the overcast light, a fairly good-sized river. You imagine probably a mountain stream or a convergence of a number of them that runs through the Svalich farther to the south and out into this area here. It's
I guess it's time to take a bath, Sir John.
Oh, it sounds like a mighty fine idea.
yeah, if you want to head over to the river, you certainly can. It's a little bit distant. You're more like, you're standing essentially at like the top of a hill looking down towards it. But you could certainly make your way over there if you want to.
I would love to take a bath, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys make your way to the south a bit. It's probably about an hour's walk by the time you find yourself at the river's edge. It's about even here, and this seems to be a narrower point in the bend, probably around 50 feet across. It's hard to gauge the depth without actually going in, but the river is pretty fast moving. When you feel it, it's icy cold to the touch, and even here in the shallows, along the banks of the river, it's surprisingly deep.
Okay, well, I'm going to wash myself.
Yeah, you strip out of your armor, down to your skivvies, and take a very cold bath in the river. You probably
Take
the
another
time.
swig of whiskey to warm me up.
Yeah, of course. I imagine you probably take the time to, wash your clothing, wash out your boots, wash
Yeah.
your armor, just
Yeah.
really get the blood and everything off of you. And I imagine while you're doing that, your companions probably take a look at that backpack. Would that be fair?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So digging through the backpack, you guys find a number of things. There is a book, leather bound, full of yellowed, cracked pages. It has no writing in it. Seems to be entirely blank. No pen, quill, or bottle of ink to be found on the inside of the pack either. Along with it, you find what you may have at first guessed to be red ink, but instead appears to be some kind of bottled liquid in a stoppered vial. It has a very deep, almost blood red color to it, and it's got a very thick, almost syrupy consistency when you kind of tilt it back and forth.
Interesting.
I
Can I
wonder
analyze
what
this?
that could be.
Digging through the rest of the pack, you find a gray cloak that has been rolled up and pushed to the bottom, and a small sack on the inside that has approximately 30 silver pieces in it. They bear, interestingly enough, the same face and same tail as the constable's coin. A handsome, smiling, princely man on one side, and the head of a wolf snarling on the other. Perhaps most notably, if you'll give me a second here, I'll pull it up for you, is a letter sealed inside of an envelope, marked with an actual wax seal bearing an unfamiliar insignia. If you'll give me 1 second, I'll even show it to you. Where would you guys like your handouts to go? I've got a little section called props. I'm going to put them
Just
there.
Roll 20 is fine.
Yeah, just in the journal, I guess.
Here. You should be able to see a section called props here in just a second. And we'll make sure everybody gets to see this handout. Let's see.
Hail thee of might and valor. I, the burgomaster of Barovia, send you honor with despair. My adopted daughter, the fair Queen Roliana?
Irina Kolyana.
Kolyana.
That's the text down there. You can read the text down there.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, please continue. I was loving the reading. I didn't have to do it myself.
Go on, Balthazar. The most literate
Go
of
on.
us.
Okay then. The fair Irina Kolyana has been these past nights bitten by a vampire for over 400 years. This creature has drained the lifeblood of my people. Now, my dear Iriana languishes and dies from an unholy wound caused by this vile beast. He has become too powerful to conquer. So I say to you, give us up for dead and encircle this land with the symbol of good Let holy men call upon the power that the devil may be contained within the walls of weeping Barovia. Leave our sorrows to our graves, and save the world from this evil fate of ours. There is much wealth entrapped in this community. Return for your reward after we all have departed for a better life. Kolyan Indirovich, Burgomaster.
A burgomaster? What is that?
Burgomaster is like, you know, like it's like a burden is like a town of a sort, right?
Yes.
It's like the mayor.
Yeah, it's basically like a mayor. So the master of the thing.
Oh, why doesn't it just say
the leader.
mayor then?
Because it's not a town, it's a burden.
It's an archaic term.
Okay.
Yes, it's an archaic, if I remember correctly, German word for mayor. It literally means the master of the town.
Yeah.
And as he reads the part where there is much wealth in Barovia, you can see like Balthazar's eyes like lit up.
Okay.
Interesting. And I say, oh my. Looks like there is a town in Barovia. And it seems that there is a vile what is a vampire? I have no idea. Does actually anyone have an idea what a vampire is?
Yes, I do.
Fiona
Yes.
might.
I mean, I think that vampires are pretty common in myth, in Western mythos in general. So we probably all have like a skewed idea of what vampires are through like stories and legends.
Yeah, so here's what I imagine. Like the word here spelt like that is probably not familiar to most of you.
Yeah.
But as I imagine Kaylen explains what a vampire is, the rest of you recognize it by whatever name it has in your culture. Ishtagoy, perhaps, to the Vistani, if you were to ask them. I think of some of the other weird names for vampires. But yeah, like you guys all.
I would like to establish that in Kirkland, blood-sucking creatures are called Jabberwocks.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. But yeah, like as you go through, like all of you have, recognized the idea of this creature, right? This kind of like mythological idea of the blood-drinking undead.
Yeah, it says blood sucking. That is bad enough, whatever its name is.
Aha! I have heard that these creatures are undead and they rise from the grave every night to drink the blood of the living. See, I have an especially potent tool for them, and he pulls out something, and I'll post a picture of that.
She's just a bomb in the shape of a cross.
It's literally just a regular bomb, like a crudely carved out T sign with like a knife or something on one side of it.
It's just.
Have you seen Monty Python?
No. Oh, yeah, grenade.
Beautiful. I love
And he will hold it up high in the sun rays back. It's not like golden inside; it's mostly glass. But there's like this golden liquid, and it seems that there's a small vial in it, a single drop of holy water. It shines in the sunlight.
it. Glistens.
It looks like the sun.
Somehow,
Yes, I have been working on this project for a while, considering that I was almost mauled by a vile beast, but it seems to work against certain types of unholy creature. I have to yet to test it against the prickle leech to see if it has any effect on it.
I imagine at this point John has finished bathing and has returned to the group, dressed probably in his still damp but not entirely wet clothing. Or perhaps a change of clothes, as is more likely.
Yeah.
He's wearing his green shirt now instead of his red one.
Yes. Yeah. It's green and yellow. one of the latest trends in the city. So my wife tells me.
So it seems it's either the bearer of this message who didn't make it out alive, because honestly, if it wasn't the bearer of the message, then why would anybody come in here? Because the letter clearly says, don't come in, just bombard the place from outside with holy spells.
I think it says it says whoever this letter is directed to will actually be responsible for the fog. Yeah, it's fog's what's keeping people out. So the Vistani say.
And we went against the fog. Oh no.
So I suppose the real question is, how long ago was it sent?
It looks like it's dated about a week ago.
Oh, okay, so not too long.
Well, if it's a week ago, then I fear that this Irina lady might have been. It might be a bit too late for her. I do not know.
Hasn't she already, according to the letter, it says that she languished and died? Or is that present tense, as in she's currently died?
It says she dies. So I assume she has died.
Hard to say.
I
will note something for the four of you. As you guys sit around reading the letter, I imagine it's Kaylen again, as the chumpiest and most suspicious of you lot, who notices the fog is slowly creeping out of the woods and across the areas around you. It's moving in essentially from the woods and is kind of spreading and filling out, the actual lands around you. It's rolling closer as we speak.
Suppose we gotta get going, guys. It's getting pretty foggy here.
And Balthazar will immediately say, "Did you see foggy? Foggy?"
Yes, I said foggy.
Balthazar will immediately throw a few drops of holy water to see if it evaporates.
Do you like throw a little bit of it towards the approaching fog?
Yes, like I sprinkle some, like the priests do, like with their fingers.
You sprinkle a little bit out with your fingers and you flick it towards the fog, which is almost it's almost surrounded you guys at this point. It's rolled off out of the woods, across the lands towards you. And as you do so, you don't see it happen, but you hear the holy water hit the fog, and there's like a snap and a pop and a hiss as it boils on contact.
We need to get out of here right now. I'll explain it to you later, but you do not want to breathe this thing. Move.
All right, I'll trust you. It's
Move to where?
Think, down.
I don't know. Wherever the fog is not present, you do not want to be caught in this fog, unless you want your flesh to be melted away from your bones.
Oh. Okay.
Why? Is it acid?
Heading north again towards the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be acid. It could be poisonous. There was some sputtering when I added holy water. Whatever it is, the nature of this fog is truly evil in nature. Otherwise, it would have not reacted with the holy water.
So you guys start making your way, at again, a very brisk pace back towards the road. The fog has really started to roll in at this point. By now, it's started to pool around your ankles and boots near your feet. And as you continue, making your way quickly towards the road, and then you're on it and you're moving down it as fast as you can, it's slowly pooling and raising higher. In the distance, rising out of the fog, tall shapes kind of loom. The muddy ground that composes the road quite suddenly gives out beneath your feet to cobblestone, cracked and ruined. As you get closer, the tall shapes kind of, reorganize themselves, and you start to recognize them not as looming shapes in the mists, but instead as the recognizable roofs and outlines of houses, dwellings of some sort. Before you know it, the four of you find yourself on the edge of a village. You start to see houses rising up to either side of the path. It's quiet. Jon, even in the dead of winter, your village is never as quiet as this. You don't hear anything as you move past the houses, the outskirts of the town, and they look dilapidated and abandoned, like no one's lived there a very long time. The windows are like black pools, and you can't help but feel like the houses themselves are watching you.
Darren suppose that whatever made the mist also made the people. Why?
It's
Fiona's gonna ask, is this a Borg?
Bergens are bigger. They're like towns.
Okay.
This is
I guess for
this
this
is like a
place,
hamlet,
this is good
right? It's like a
enough.
small village or a
It
hamlet
starts
style.
Well, you guys are on the very outskirts of it, and you can
Right.
see buildings get denser and more tightly packed the further you move in. But I think we're actually going to leave it here for today.
Okay.
As you guys reach the edge of the village and start to make your way inside, just this unsettling silence as the fog rolls in from all directions, pulling ever higher, right? And as you guys make your way down the path further into this village, you finally see a road sign kind of, off to the side. And it says, this wooden sign painted with flaking red paint, "Welcome to the village of Barovia." That's where we're going to call it.
Yay!
All right.
Thank
Before I
you.
forget, I wanted to check if there was anything wrapped inside of the brown cloak that you said.
Oh, gray cloak, and that was the letter.
Oh, that was the letter. Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Yes.
All right.
Someone should probably write down what was in the backpack, like red vial, cloak, letter, bag of coins, and empty book. All right.
Notepad.
As always, comments, questions, criticisms, concerns, any thoughts about the game? Anything you'd like to say?
I'll just say that great game, great role playing on everyone's account, and I just add that as the party gets as bonds grow closer, I'd love to actually go into some real more deep backstory action as the sessions go on, if y'all are willing.
Yeah.
Forest bag. All right, so there was a empty book,
Gray cloak,
gray cloak,
vial,
red vial,
a stack with 20 silver pieces marked with the same faces as the odd gold coin that you have, Jon. And of course,
nice.
a letter.
30 silver pieces with peculiar design. And what? And the letter, yeah.
And the letter. And then I guess you can count the backpack itself if you guys want to hold on to it.
Is the
Is it
gray
bloodied?
cloak particularly good quality?
Yeah, it looks warm. I mean, it's rough spun, but it's made of, pretty thick material.
I'll take the gray cloak because
Sure.
I can. Who wants the silver?
I'll take the pouch. I'll
Are
take
you
the
trying
bag.
to, John? Are
Okay.
you trying to be Grand Pooh by the doink of all of this and that?
I'm trying to be warm as well. But yeah, who wants to take the silver?
I'll take it.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Guess I'll just mark that down. Take it. Bye.
I suppose
Kaylen.
Balthazar would want the vial.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does Balthazar want the vial? Okay.
How much silver?
30 in total.
I thought it was 20.
Cool.
It was 20.
Oh, was it 20? Oh, never mind. I heard 30 for some reason. Okay. Taken by Val.
So there's the book and the letter left. Maybe I can just carry in the pack.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So I got nothing else for you guys. You are dismissed for the day. As always, if you need to get
Yay.
in contact with me, you want to talk about something related to the game, just let me know. I'll be available.
Alright.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you
Sounds
for the session.
Yep. Thank you all.
Next Sunday.
See you guys.